Nobody will tell you I am
some
missing.
faces are missing. Maybe they are still having tea there. Yeah, students and respected colleagues, we have a very important lecture scheduled this morning from 11:30 to 1. This lecture is a sponsored lecture by one of the very famous companies in the United States of America, that is Biolog. The lecture is on, again, a very recent topic on microbial characterization. The title of the lecture is Phenotypic Fingerprinting of Fungi. So the title itself suggests that something very modern about microorganisms, the technology, and I would like to introduce the speaker for this particular lecture, Dr. N. Amaraisan, and Mr. R.K. Jain. He must be sitting on the back side. Dr. R.K. Jain is representing a company, this is Biolog, and the speaker, N. Amaraisan, the name was picked by Dr. R.K. Jain himself, based on his credentials on this particular topic. Presently, Dr. Amaraisan is an assistant professor at C.G. Bhakta Institute of Biotechnology, Ukha, Tarsalia University in Gujarat. So, his biodata is a pretty long one. In brief, I will just highlight some of his academic achievements. Dr. Amaraisan did his undergraduation from University of Madras, and subsequently he did post-graduation and doctoral degree in microbiology from Bharathidasan University in Tamil Nadu, and he is having over 15 years of experience in teaching, research, and made several original and novel discoveries in microbiology, in particular microbial characterization and also plant-microbe interactions. So many of you may or may not be knowing, very recently he conducted a national
conference,
symposium, whatever you call, meet on microbiomes, and that speaks about his what you call credentials on this particular subject. And he has more than 35 research articles in his kitty, 9 book chapters, and 4 chapters for CRC Press and Elsevier kind of publications. So he made a number of original findings, and before coming to this Gujarat, I believe he worked in Andaman and Nicobar Island. There is ICR Institute in various research capacities, and he is also a kind of young scientist awardee from different funding agencies, and presently he is handling 2 ongoing projects funded by TST, CRB, GEMI, and DBT. So without standing between him and the audience, I call upon Dr. N. Amaraisan to deliver his lecture. Amaraisan, please.
Okay. Good morning, one and all. Before going into today's topic, phenotypic fingerprinting of fungi, I would like to thank organizer for giving me opportunity to share the idea which I have with the Biolog products. Start with the Biolog. It's a company producing phenotypic finger plates for the identification of microbes. So Biolog is a company, and the technology is microbial identification technology using fingerprinting, metabolic profiles. So what are the technologies available with the Biolog company? They have a microbial identification technology that we can use to identify at species level. Not only bacteria, we can also identify using this microbial identification technology anaerobic bacteria, yeast, and filamentous fungi. Also, they have phenotypic microarray technology that is used for the characterization of microbes. So they have nearly 15 to 20 phenotypic microarray plates coated with different substrates. Some plates with the nitrogen sources, some plates with the carbon source, some plates with the antibiotics. So we can differentiate the difference between two microbes or two bacteria. Apart from the identification technology, they have also phenotypic microarray for mammalian assays and mitochondrial functions assays. Start with the biolog identification technology. We can use this technology for the identification of both gram-negative and gram-positive aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria, yeast, and filamentous fungi. The microbes can be from any sources. We can identify using this technology. It can be from environmental source, or maybe plant microbes, or clinically important pathogens, or from industrial isolates, or plant pathogens, or veterinary use. So this technology has a fairly large amount of database, and also it is continuously under expansion by Biolog as well as those who are using this Biolog products. The principle used in Biolog method for identification of microbes is, it's based on advanced calorimetric method based on 95 phenotypic reactions which is present in the microtiter plate. It is based on utilization pattern of different carbon sources and biochemicals like antibiotics, pH, or NaCl tolerance. Then after utilization of this carbon source and biochemicals are filled in the microtiter plate, the bacteria or other organisms like anaerobic bacteria, yeast, or filamentous fungi are inoculated into the Biolog plates. Then microbes utilize the nutrients which is already present in the microtiter plate, and it respire and release energy. When it undergoes cellular respiration, it is indicated by redox dye called tetrasolium, which gets reduced to form a distinct purple color. Okay, the plate, the inoculation fluid is added with the tetrasolium dye. Then when the bacteria or fungi or other microbes, when utilized, there will be unique metabolic profile is recorded, and then these unique profiles are compared with the database which is already present in the Biolog system. Then we can identify microbes at species level. So this is the indicator dye used in the Biolog, tetrasolium violet dye. When it is in the oxidized state, it is usually in the colorless. When it is reduced, the color changed into purple. So that indicates the bacteria or fungi utilize the substrate present in the microtiter plate. Let us see microplates used in microbial identification. There are different types of microplates available with Biolog companies. One is Gen 3 microplate. So this plate particularly used for the identification of gram-negative and gram-negative positive aerobic bacteria. So it is filled with 71 carbohydrates and 23 chemical sensitivity assay. And another plate available with the Biolog is filamentous fungi microplate. So this plate particularly used for the identification of filamentous fungi. Another plate available with the Biolog is anaerobic microtiter plate. So this plate is filled with the carbohydrates, sugars, alcohols, organic acids, amino acids, peptides, and nucleotides and nucleosides are free-filled with in these plates. Another plate available for the identification of yeast. So again, same 96 well-titer plate. So the Biolog database books has more than 1500 species of aerobic bacteria, 361 species of anaerobic bacteria, 267 species of yeast, and 710 species of filamentous fungi. Let's start with the fungi identification. So we all know that fungi are very large group of organism, and it can colonize almost all ecological niches. So they have the ability to grow in different environmental conditions on various substrates. Okay, so in general, the fungi usually considered as a contaminant in almost all industries. If you take drug industries, the fungi is the major contaminant, and food industries or other products, or even research lab. We always say that we have fungal contamination. So we have to identify the fungi as quickly as possible. So we can use this phenotypic characterization within 2 to 3 days. You know, the estimated species of fungi is 1.5 million, and so far the known species is 80,000, and then every year 1,000 new species are described. So how to identify the fungi? So we can identify fungi based on morphological method, physiological method, and genetic method. Now tell me which method you are going to use. So it's depending upon the facilities available in your research lab. Okay, if you have good facilities, you can go for genomic characterization. If you have phenotypic methodology, you can identify easily, and morphological method, it's a gold standard method for the identification of fungi. If we start with the morphological identification, one should have experience how to identify fungi based on microscopically and macroscopically. Okay, so it do not require very expensive equipments. So if you do not have experience with the fungi, what will happen? Sometimes when you observe yeast under microscope, you may confused with whether this is yeast or bacteria. Same way, when you are working with the streptomyces also forms filamentous structure, you may confused with whether it's a filamentous fungi or streptomyces. So one should have experience for morphological identification of fungi. Apart from that, we can identify a mycelium without segments. It's mostly a zygomycetes. Mycelium with the segments, it's ascomycetes. And if you find connections, basidiomycetes. So we should know all these characters before identifying fungi by using morphological method or microscopically. If it is macroscopic characteristics, a few researchers use colony fungi colony color, and some people use colony reverse color. Some cases, if you see Colletotrichum trichoderma, many of the researchers look for reverse color. And colony texture, whether it's silky colony or woolly or spongy, etc. And possible presence of exudates. In the case of Colletotrichum, you may see exudate production after 7 to 8 days. And some people look for pigments or odor. Some trichoderma species produce a coconut odor, and growth rate, whether it's a slow growing fungi, fast growing fungi. Other morphological observation, like some fungi used to grow on the petri plate rim also. Okay, so for example, Sclerotium rolfsi, trichoderma species used to grow even in the rim of the petri plates. So one should have experience to identify fungi based on microscopic and macroscopic methods. Next, with the genetic method. So this method do not allow for the discrimination between living organism and dead organism. So usually identification at the species level is still it is contradictory. by using genetic method. Maybe 10 years ago, people used to sequence ITS region and then identify the fungi. But at present, being a regular reviewer in plant disease and journal of plant pathology, what we do, if the paper comes with a ITS region, we straight away reject the paper. Because the identification of fungi at present is a multi-gene concept. We cannot go with ITS region alone. So also, most of the sequences submitted in the NCBI database are poor quality, and 20% of the sequences deposited in public database are incorrect. For example, in my own experience, we isolated more than 50 Coletotrichum species. When we check for microscopic, macroscopic analysis, it's all different. Okay, color is different, growth rate is different, and the exudate production is different, even morphology is different. When we do sequencing with the ITS region, we got only Coletotrichum gliosporidis. Out of 50, all 50 isolates are Coletotrichum gliosporidis. So it indicates that even some reviewers indicated that ITS is outdated for Coletotrichum identification. You should go for other regions like RNA polymerase beta subunit, calmodin gene, or a translation elongation factor or elongation factor, etc. And then it has a low taxonomic resolution, as like bacteria. If we take bacteria, we have a standard region, 16S region, for the identification of bacteria. Apart from the database available for bacteria is huge. Even you can, if you are not getting good result with the NCBI database, you can go for ribosomal database, where you can see this all sequences are with authenticated cultures. So you can identify the bacteria easily, but in the case of fungi, it's a little difficult, and we should go for multi-gene concept. So if we have good facilities, we can go for multi-gene concept. Otherwise, what we can do, we can go for phenotypic characterization. So it's a semi-automated method, samples incubated offline and placed reader at one time. The important thing is that you no need to have experience on fungi. Okay, you inoculate your sample, incubate it, and read results, and compare with the database available with the biolog instruments. So it's capable of identifying over 2,900 species of aerobes, anaerobes, yeast, and fungi. The ID for Plaventous fungi are already provided in the database. The advantage is it's a quick and easy application, allows the integration of the fungal physiological profiles with its morphological characteristics. The database provided with the physiological profiles, if you click on the organism which you identified, you will get the colony characters as well as microscopic pictures. So you can compare easily with the database. Start with the fungal identification procedure using biolog. Before starting your experiment, you should identify first whether the fungi is slow growing fungi or fast growing fungi. So based on that, you have to set up your experiment. So if it is a fast growing fungi, all we know the colony will form in 2 to 3 days. For example, Rhizopus, Muca, Trichoderma, all are fast growing fungi. If it is medium or slow growing fungi, even Coletotrichum, they form colonies after 3 to 7 days or more. So based on this is itself a taxonomy, whether the fungi is fast growing or slow growing. So based on that, we have to set up the experiment. Okay. Then we have to go for inoculating the sample into the microtiter plate. So how to inoculate a sample into the microtiter plate? First, we have to take this sterile swab, which is provided in the with the instruments, biolog company, that has to be moistened with the filamentous fungi inoculation fluid provided by the company. Okay, so after moistening, you gently roll that swab on the fungal growth. So you will get fungal spores as well as hyphae. After collecting the spores, you inoculate the sample into the filamentous fungi inoculating fluid provided by the company and reach 75% of the absorbance by using calorimeter, that can be plus or minus 2. At the same time, you inoculate one more plate. This is not microtiter plate, this is a Petri plate for the morphological observation of fungi. Sometimes what happens, you may not get ID. If you are not getting ID, it doesn't mean that the database is not identifying the fungi. Okay, so at that time you can identify based on the morphology or microscopic pictures. So this is the method. Take swab, roll on the fungal culture, inoculate into the filamentous fungi inoculation fluid and take the correct absorbance and then inoculate into the microtiter plate using 8-channel pipetter provided by the company. So you have to dispense 100 microliter of the sample into each well. Okay, when you are inoculating the sample, you should not touch the tip of the tips into the bottom. Otherwise, that already dried substrates may disturb. Okay, after inoculating, you seal the plate with a parafilm to prevent dehydration and a thermostat contamination. And then after inoculating, incubate your plate at room temperature. So environmental fungi usually works at room temperature around 30 degrees centigrade and then develop for the development of metabolic fingerprint. So after incubating, what we have to do, we have to take the results, phenotypic results every day. We have to read the results every day and you have to save the files date wise, because after 24 hours you may not get the result. You have to continue the reading up to 5 days. Okay, so based on the growth rate, that's what I mentioned earlier, based on the growth rate, decide when to start take reading. For example, if it is fast growing fungi, you should get results within 3 days. If it is slow growing fungi, you have to extend the reading to 7 days or more also sometimes. And then save the data. If you do not reach ID, already told, it doesn't mean that the data is not good. Okay, so once you get the ID, what you can do, you stop the reading and note down your results. So if you are not getting ID, what you have to do, after 5 to 6 days, just focus on the each day similarity values. So on which day you got maximum similarity values, you pick up that day and then compare with the morphology confirmation. Say for example, so this is a Penicillium chrysogenum and a Penicillium verrucosum. Both have similar metabolic profiles. Identification of these two fungi based on metabolic profile is difficult, but you can identify easily based on morphology. Okay, so you should have metabolic profiles. If you are not getting ID, then go for morphology and then compare the database. So you will get the ID of the fungi. These are the filamentous image library available with the Biolog database, where you will get plate observation as well as microscopic observation. Come to conclusion. So in general, fungal taxonomy is complicated by presence of remarkable morphological and physiological or intraspecific variability. Even if you take Colletotrichum gliosporidis, I think 6 to 7 variations are there within the Colletotrichum gliosporidis. So for correct and reliable identification at the species level, the best approach for fungi is multidisciplinary. So you should integrate your morphological methods with physiological methods or genetic methods or molecular methods. So by using biolog microstation filamentous fungi microplates, we can identify over 700 fungi profiles with pictures for morphological confirmations. So this is the filamentous fungi microplate where you can identify over 700 taxa from 120 genera. So this provided with macroscopic and microscopic images. So what in general the biolog system is available with multiple formats, but all formats use same workflow, same procedure. So the workflow is same, sample setup procedure is same, test panel is same, the data format is same. The only difference is some are semi-automated. You have to incubate your plates outside, then take reading using microstation. So this is used for the rapid identification of aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria, yeast and fungi. There is a possibility for database expansion, or you can create your own database for the identification of fungi or other microbes. The reader is provided, software enabled with the computer. So in this case, semi-automated case, plate incubation is offline. So automated reading of plate, data collection and results reporting are with the system. Another system available is fully automated system called OmniLog, where you can identify only aerobic bacteria, whereas OmniLog ID plus you can identify, the system is provided with OmniLog plus microstation. We can identify both all microbes, aerobic, anaerobic, bacteria, yeast and fungi. So advantages with the OmniLog is it's fully automation, rapid identification, database expandability, built-in incubation, where you no need to incubate your plates outside, offline. The system itself as incubator, you can at a time you can incubate 50 microplates. In the back side of the instrument, the reader, the camera is provided, and every 2 hours it takes the reading. So application of this biolog is, it has a quite large applications. We can use industrial quality control, veterinary research, education, research institutes to study microbial ecology. There are plates called eco plates. We can study community level physiological profile studies, and we can identify plant pathogens and food industries and clinical pathogens. Apart from that, this is my own work based on biolog. So in early days, if you see, then numerical taxonomy is based on physiological profiles. Okay, at that time you have to do each and every experiment individually and then score your results, whether it's a positive or negative. Minimum you should have 30 to 35 physiological profile studies. Then score it. After that you make a dendrogram using NTC software. The same method we followed here by using biolog phenotypic characters to check, to compare the variation between genetic methods and physiological methods. So almost we see a similar grouping pattern. So this one is based on RAPD experiment and this one is based on biolog experiment, filamentous FF plates. So what we have to do, if it is positive, you score it as a 1. If it is negative, score it as 0. All you know, I think, that RAPD, how to do dendrogram construction. Same method, just you have to score 1, 0, 1, 0 like that, and then you will get the diversity or grouping of the fungi. Some facts of biolog, it's a fast results. In the case of bacteria, within 2 hours you will get result. No need to go for gram staining. Just inoculate your sample, start reading after 2 hours, you will get the identification. Once you get the ID, you stop reading. It's a simple workflow and a simple sample setup procedure, and it is a simple calorimetric method. No requirement of highly skilled manpower. That's what I told previously. Even if you do not have any idea on fungal taxonomy, you start with this phenotypic characterization. So no need of extensive training program. Just inoculate your sample in the given microtiter plate and start reading after 24 hours, and you will get results. So phenotypic identification are acceptable for routine identification of sterility testing, clean rooms, ancillary rooms, employees, and verification of cleaning procedures. So some may ask, can I use this biolog results for publications? Yes, you can use along with the genetic method. Alone you cannot publish. So these are the techniques available with the biolog, like some phenotypic microarray characterization already discussed. So we can, to compare difference between two similar organisms, we can go for phenotypic microarray characterization. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your really elaborative and excellent presentation. I have a small question. Like for identification of this filamentous fungi through biolog database, now just now you have only 710 tags in your database. So only those species we can
Yes,
identify
ma'am.
through this.
Yeah.
test. So
Only.
I think for bacteria you have a lot of database.
Yeah, it's almost
Now it is
1500.
a little restricted through biolog for fungal identification.
Yeah, but it's at present it's more than 700 species we can identify. Not all.
For 750 species.
At present, okay. So mostly it's for spore forming bacteria, fungi. Yes.
Sir, what is the cost involved per sample?
Actually, for fungal identification, we are using a fungal plate. For fungal identification, we are using a fungal plate along with the inoculating fluid for fungi. So the total cost for inoculating fluid and fungi plate will be around 2,500 rupees within this state. So you can do it. Sorry?
Yes, yes. We can do. You can do outsourcing at present.
Outsourcing is available. In Pune also.
NCMR
NCC
Pune is providing the
available.
outsourcing facilities.
So yesterday we had a talk by Agricultural Research Institute, SKC. They can assist you. And in IRI we have installed this facility, and we have not gone into any commercial motive. It is only for research purpose. In future, there may be a possibility we may institute other workers also. That time, if you are still interested, you can.
So I think in the afternoon.
Only 700 tags is available in biolog. So if your sample is comes under that tags only, you can use that.
Yeah, please. Come this way. Yeah, I must tell here we have a practical this afternoon. You are going to see the machine, how it looks like, and also you are going to see how this experiment need to be conducted. And Dr. Amaresan will elaborate on that. And the point here is it's a very small lab we installed, and we need to take in batches, and all of you will be given an opportunity to see how this identification scheme will can be set up in a laboratory. He is going to be with us today and tomorrow. Today we will be doing inoculation, and tomorrow we will be reading the results. So it's a complete setup right from today to tomorrow. Okay. We have some question from.
Hello, sir. Sir, using this biolog, can we differentiate the fungal species? For example, if I am working on Fusarium species complex, can I differentiate using this biolog?
Yeah, we can differentiate. You will get different metabolic profiles, fingerprinting. So based on that, you can see, say for example, Fusarium solani as a diverse variation. You can see 1 and 2 based on the substrate utilization. Some may utilize, some may not utilize. So based on that, you can differentiate.
Add to this explanation that should be possible. Here the example what he brought here, penicillin trisojates, it is other way around. Phenotypically, the results were very similar. There he wanted the morphology-based identification. The question what he is asking, whether the closely related Fusarium can be differentiated based on the phenotypic fingerprints. Technically, it should be possible. If we have a well-characterized 2 different species of Fusarium, beyond doubt, then you develop this fingerprints using this microtite plate and document all the test results, and that becomes a kind of bona fide phenotypic fingerprint of this particular species of Fusarium. That is really possible, and I wish you use our facility to come out with that kind of phenotype. And this data can be uploaded in biolog database also, right? Yeah.
Apart from this, like Dr. Vaishnav confirmed that we have 750 species for identification in our database. But apart from that, we can add a new novel species also. So we have to prepare a number of duplicates. That data we can store in our biolog user database. So like if you find some other novel species, then you can store it with your metabolic input, and later on you can identify that.
Any questions?
I am seeing some hands were raising here. Please come front. Yeah. So another plus point with this technology, or rather the database can be built by even the users. Right? That is how the so-called community approach in building of the databases. And no individuals can build up the databases. It's all, the whole GenBank is sitting on that philosophy only. So we all populate GenBank database. Now we group it. So something, the same logic only here also. Another question from Asharani.
Actually, sir, now you told that fungal identification we can do by multidisciplinary approach, like phenotypic, morphology, as well as genetic. But nowadays, ITS is not that much useful. And then for this database is only 700, around 700. That too, we know that fungal species are around 5.1 million species.
Yeah.
And if we are going for endophytic fungi isolation, that time how can we, how this biolog database is robust for endophytic fungi isolation? For that, we don't have like more endophytic fungus, they don't sporulate.
Yeah.
So we don't have morphological data also here. So how can we go by this?
So, you can generate your own database. So based on,
Generating is different, sir. I'm asking about identification.
if your organism falls under this group, no, you can identify.
I can supplement Dr. Amaresan.
You can characterize and come to a conclusion that this could be the species.
The question is it mandatory for us to inoculate only the spores? Can we inoculate the hyphal fragments also in the plate so that fingerprints can be developed? That's the question. So I think technically the answer should be yes, because
Yes.
anything which multiplies, we can put it in the well.
We need to have as many characters as possible.
Yeah.
Like a score character is very, very important than my CD. Yeah. So I think without score morphology may not be possible. And then if it is falling on those 750 taxa, which they already have at a database, then we can identify through this biolog directly. If it is not there, that's what I asked. The first question was.
It is a very good question. In fact, I was supposed to ask this question. If the fungi is not sporulating, nobody can identify the fungi, even by morphological means, right? Now the answer could be, you take the hyphal fragments, you inoculate, develop the fingerprint, and you do the database search and try to find out which one is the closest genus or species coming to this endophytic fungi, right? So that should be the answer. See, it all depends on what data comes and in which hit it is having on the database. I think it should be possible, and any database becomes stronger with the time, right? So today what is not there, it may be there tomorrow. So it's all about, that's how the science progresses, and we get a better identification of any organisms. It's always with the time only.
We will get back to you with the dialogue, how the identification can be done for this.
Any more questions, any students? Please come forward. Yeah, this is a high throughput technology. The biggest advantage of this particular technology, you are generating 94 to 95 independent biochemical test results in a single go. That is something which let us not forget that. So 94 independent biochemical tests you are setting up, and based on the test results, how many of them are positive, how many of them are negative. Remember, both positive and negative are the characters. If certain nutrient is not utilized by the organism, the dye is not, the color is not formed, that is also a character. Right? If a fungi is not utilizing, let us say, dulcitol, so it's a trait. So tomorrow you will sell this fungi, it does not utilize dulcitol. So whether it is a positive result or just a negative result, it is an information. Right? That would add to the identification effort finally. So somebody was asking two different fusarium, whether can we identify. If one fusarium is able to utilize a carbon source, the other one is not utilizing that, that is an information. So tomorrow you can build something else on this. You come out with a kind of selective media just to eliminate that particular carbon source. You can prevent the fungi from appearing on the plate. Right? The utilization is the potential benefit is really enormous in this kind of technology. There's another question.
So one thing I like to add, our database is generated based on different isolates of the same species. So we are having a combination of isolates, and it is an algorithm of that. So it's not like that if you have an isolate from some environmental or from other source, it will not be identified, because when we identify, we are always comparing the results with the sim values. Yeah, sim values. So what happens, like sim value, if sim value is 0.5, means 0.5 is 50% of the similarity with the our standard database, then it will give you a confirm ID. But if it is lesser than that, then it will give you just the probable species, and above that it is 100% confirmed. So in our software we have ID box. So if the sim value is above 0.5 or even 0.5, it will give you a confirm ID, which you can identify by other methods also.
So I have 2 and 3 questions. So first one is the technical one. What is the shelf life of that micro tetraplate?
So, expiry date. It's a
Actually, actually,
What are the
basically in our microdata plates, we have a lifelike substance. So it has a life, provided you store them between 4 to 8 degrees centigrade. But as a company, Biolog is giving an expiry date of approximately 1 year or 1.5 years. But inoculating fluids where the dye is added, they have a short life. So initially, although we are keeping the plates in stock, but sometimes because the inoculating fluid has a shorter life, so we are arranging later on. But we can supply you. Otherwise, the life is it is lifelong, provided you store it properly.
So I have another question. Just you have told in your slide that you go for pure culture of when you are identification of certain microbes, either bacteria or fungi, you go for pure culturing on that microtetraplate.
Yes.
And in the next one, you said that we can use it for environmental studies. So in the environmental studies, every environmentalist does not concentrate on one pathogen. They use a group of that pathogen. They see the complex. What is the interaction between two pathogens or three pathogens or the microbes, anyone. So how can we differentiate or we can identify using biolog if we have a mixture of pathogens or microbes?
No, that is not possible. Whether you isolate organism, microbes from environment or industry or food, whatever it is, then you have to purify, then you have to use for identification.
I think perhaps he is confusing it with the ecoplates. The applications are quite different from the identification plates.
Ecoplate application is different.
Yeah, the application of ecoplate is not related to identification at all, right? The objective is quite different, right? So I think we'll have a detailed discussion maybe during the practical hour. Yeah, you restrict your questions only on identification using microplated plates. Okay, if you have any questions on that, you can still ask, right? Please.
What substrate do you have in this? What substrate do you have in this fungal microplate?
I think that can be
That-
decoded, ma'am. I think the database is
No, it's there. List is
He was
there.
giving for all the bacteria and all.
Yes, ma'am.
He is mentioning.
No, it's there. It's available.
That's not quite visible actually. I was trying to look at that. Yeah, this is not
This one. 1080 N-acetyl D-galactosamine, N-acetyl D-glucosamine. Huh?
I think we
That's
can
it.
provide the sheet to madam, so she will understand.
Sheet is available, ma'am. That we will give you.
This 90 worked or not, you must look at A1 and A10, right? A1 should be colorless,
Colorless.
and A10 should be
Color.
colored one. Then only you are going to see, you are going to read the plate. By chance, A1 is colored and A10 is no color, that means you have to throw the plate and you redo the experiment right from the beginning, once again, right? So that's how the whole experiment works. Any more questions? Yeah, please come forward.
Not in the fungi.
Sir, after all, it is a technology, and I have a fungus which is not identified, and I don't have knowledge about for the identification. So, if there is a possibility of getting false results or the cross reactivity through this technology, and I am totally reliable on this technology. I don't know how to. I have lacking the knowledge, and totally reliable in this technology, and even I am getting the false result. I am going. With that result only, and at the end my thesis got blocked, and this is
She's touching too far actually. That much is not needed. So if no prior identification is there and you depend on this particular technology, the benefit I'm telling you, at least you will document the test results, number one. Number two, around 700 species or
Species
tags
are
are
available.
there in the database, right? 700 means if your organism is not any one of those 700, you are not going to see the identity at all. But what is possible here is it will tell you which one is the closest of your test material. So that information will come to you, right? So most often what I have seen is the closest one comes at a genus level, right? So you would definitely identify the organism. You may not tell this is so and so, but you will tell my organism is closely related to so and so organism. So that information will definitely guide you, and you will not go blind after doing this experiment. Yeah.
You will get three results. One is you will get metabolic profiles of unknown fungi. Second, you will get a macroscopic picture as well as microscopic picture. So with microscopic picture, you can compare with unknown fungi. Then you will get some idea which fungi it is. Apart from that, the fungi database has specific database also, means organism based. So if you know that your fungi belongs to Aspergillus, you can directly go to Aspergillus database. No need to go for general fungi database. Okay. So like that
This is a very
Trichoderma
important-
database, Aspergillus database is available.
Yeah, that's one of the most important advantage. In addition to identity, you are going to see the morphology of the fungi. That is also built in the
In the
database.
database, yes.
Right. So that's what he is trying to highlight.
And
So-
moreover, you can also see, like if it is not identified, you can also, it will also show you the what wells has been utilized, and they will also display the name of the wells, name of the substrate. So you can at least note down what substrate it has utilized. So that is a characterization, biochemical characterization. So using this thing as well as the microscopic structure, you can come to a conclusion.
So new technologies always leads to new headaches, right? The headache is you need to have a kind of a system to document all the results, right? You can ask it.
So, like this database development is in Biolog. How do you develop the database? Like in NCBI, we deposit the sequences and we give all the data. That's how it was accessioned, and then the database is developed. And in case of here, this is phenotypic characterization. Then how do you develop this database in your Biolog?
Basically, Biolog has in US, Biolog has identified some labs.
Okay.
So there the database will be developed. So they are getting it verified with the other methods also, and they are developing their own phenotype metabolic phenotype also. So using these combinations, they are identified and they are developing. They have a number of labs.
They run number of times, ma'am. For say, for example, if it is Fusarium oxysporum, you run at least 50 to 100 times and develop the algorithms based on metabolic profiles. Then that's how they fix the develop the
At
database.
the same time, they are getting it verified with other methods also, like 16S or other protein characterization.
So that's how they come back to the morphology and then they.
Yes.
So once they have stored in the database, it is a confirm.
Sir, I have been working with yeast.
Okay.
So for yeast, phenotypic fingerprinting is very necessary. So in your database, there are only 267 yeast.
267. Yes.
67. So how can we, means there are so many yeast out there, both industrial, chemical, and even in industrial there are harmful yeast. So how can this database cover all this yeast?
No, I'm not getting your question.
Yes,
Do you want?
Yeah, I want to identify, if I want to identify or phenotypically see my yeast.
Yeah, just you use just to use this yeast microplate. Use this yeast microplate, you will get the ID of the yeast. So we have in this database there are 267 yeast databases available. So based on the metabolic profile, you will get the correct ID of the yeast.
No, I think you are concerned with the how the sample preparation has to be done carefully. If it is a pathogen,
No.
that's what you want to know.
Yes, sir, pathogenic or because the database, the number.
No, it doesn't matter whether your sample is a pathogen or non-pathogen.
Give you only the characters,
Ah,
identity.
The sample preparation has to be done in safety cabinets.
Yes, sir. No, that was not my question because the database is very less. So how can we?
no. But, to yeast, no, this is quite a huge database. So many of the people used to work on Candida albicans or Candida tropicalis or otherwise Rhodotorula. This is the what I are Saccharomyces. So many researchers knows maximum 5 to 6 yeast or 10. This database provided with 267. So you may get the what to say, a very rare yeast also.
So even in Saccharomyces cerevisiae,
Hmm.
there are so many isolates that some are beneficial fermenting Saccharomyces, some are non-fermenting wild Saccharomyces. So can we differentiate those?
Yes, we can. You will get the metabolic profile of fermenting Saccharomyces, non-fermenting Saccharomyces, and you can see which substrate is utilized by fermenting Saccharomyces and non-fermenting Saccharomyces. So that may be the reason the Saccharomyces able to ferment or not ferment.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question? No, then another time from myself for nice presentation. I think you will get the benefit from this new technique, maybe used in the future. And as she asked that, we can also come to know whether that pathogen is producing some kind of substrate, if there is a substrate. So that data also we can have a clue that always we can verify in the applications.
So every 6 students can come in the afternoon for the
Yeah, all will come for afternoon session. Actually, they come. I just want to thank you and we will talk about